Hey, folks, one of the Redneck Country Podcast. You are on with Real Redneck Todd Millard. And, of course, we got the almost guy, Real Redneck Bill, Thom Bill. Are you there?
Good evening, everybody. I am here. What a beautiful night for a podcast.
Beautiful night for a podcast. We also have the patriarch of Redneck Country, my father, Real Redneck Todd Millard. Dad, is your mic hot?
That is hot. I'm hot. I'm ready to go. Yep. I had a quick supper, walked over again. Beautiful night for a walk and a podcast.
Holy jeez. They upped his meds.
Yeah. They allowed him to eat first before the podcast, too, which is a new twist for you Millards.
Oh, yeah. Not going to get chirped.
I'm getting excited. It's getting close to Christmas. I'm there, man. I'm Christmas spirit.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, good grief. And back by popular demand, and I'm gonna say this because you've been on a goose hunt with us. You come down a couple goose hunts with us, hung out with us. This is like your second time. We can't help that you're related, but I am gonna make the executive call that we have Real Redneck J. Thom is on the phone with us. If you will be so kind as to let us call you such, Jay, are you there?
I'm here, and I appreciate the title. That's for sure. I know that I can't help who I'm related to either, but hey, I appreciate the moniker.
Which is awesome because the way there's always a transition period of overlap, right?
Talk about transition, Jay. I'll trade you who we're related to.
I think I'll pass on that one.
Good. Smart move. Smart move.
I got all you guys on one
And a promotion, Jay. That's a good
promotion. I got all you guys on one input. I can make this an awesome podcast with one little dial spin.
I can tell that's where you're headed. Hey, and you know what else is new? You know what else is new for the night? I finally got allowed in the house.
You're allowed in the house. You're not in the sunroom, man cave-ish.
No, it's mine is 10 out in the sunroom, and my wife said, maybe you should sit inside. I don't like you sitting out in the cold for an hour and a half. And I thought, well, that's kind of nice of you to allow me back in the house.
She doesn't want to take care of a sick husband.
No, because if I get sick, whether I'm sick or not, it's 14 days and she's got to take care of me. So,
hey,
I would rather.
Now you might be onto something there.
Could be. And she made my tea for me tonight too. Just to let you know.
Good grief. Mine says, when are you going out in the cold? She says, you're going to walk over? Go a little sooner.
Yeah. The Millard love.
You got it.
If we only chirp those we love.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Speaking of that, I also saw that we are all, 75% of us on this call are doing something that's pretty good. And Todd, I see you're struggling a little bit to get things done, but the push-up challenge is happening. It's in full swing. And
what do you mean I'm struggling? I up to 50 a day. 55.
Come on, I saw no evidence of that other than typing. And
then we're going to have to
win as far as I'm concerned. The only one that's actually doing it every day online is my brother, which is the most surprising of it all.
Well, and I didn't say that, Jay. And I was going to post it, but my problem is too many people get so jealous of my physique and my style and how that it just brings unwanted comments. So I thought, you know what? If I just do it on the side quietly and show my support every now and then. But I am getting some naysayers, so I might have to put it up there and start doing 100 a day.
Yeah.
Just because you put it on a loop doesn't mean that it counts as 100.
Welcome to the podcast, Jay. Welcome to the podcast.
Awesome, Jay. Awesome.
Future
Keep it up.
Todd. The other thing that you shouldn't do is have your clock in the background, because when it goes forward and backwards, that's a dead giveaway.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one that noticed that.
You guys. Duly noted. Come Christmas, when I'm more looking like the Hulk, y'all will be checking the progress, going back, going, oh, that was day one.
It's
my
more like
gosh.
The Kool-Aid man.
I gotta say, I do appreciate you guys jumping on board with that. It's I got nominated, and it is for a good cause, if nothing else, just for fun. But I'm challenging myself just to see how far I can get. I'm 7 days in, we'll see how it goes. And if you actually watch mine, I did a couple of extras today just for you, Todd.
Did you really? I might have to do that. You know, I said that I scroll through Facebook and all of a sudden, bam, there's Jay's face and it almost makes me throw my phone. It's right. The screenshot. I'm like, oh, he's doing the push-ups. I better watch, make sure his form's okay. I just haven't had time to chime in.
My form is horrible, and I know it, but I'm trying my best.
You can't bring that confidence to the podcast. If you're making fun of you, what am I going to do?
Oh, I'm sure you'll have plenty of ammunition.
Is that the best way to get you to be quiet, Todd? I just want to know did I crack the code?
You've not 42 years people have been trying. It's never been done. If you have cracked it, you are one of a kind. So don't count on it.
So Don, what'd you get up to this week? We were all working on our push-ups, and what'd you get up to?
It was rewrap week. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I've been rewrapping all week. It's return the gifts that I don't think are suited and looking for the perfect one. I agonize over that. And I actually took 2 people's gifts back this week and bought something totally different for both those people. So I had to rewrap them. And then my wife. Sorry, that's what happens when Todd makes you upset. I'd take all his gifts back too. Well, not only that, but it was his birthday this week.
If that's the case, I'd never get a thing, Bill.
Oh, it was his birthday.
I'd owe him.
It was his birthday this week, and his wife's been busy at work, so I volunteered to get together at our place. And Jen says, "Oh, thank goodness!" And she says, "What do you want me to?" Nothing. I'll cook supper. So I cooked supper, and Jen brought over the cake. But doggone it, he got this new chair for his birthday, and he's sitting in it right now. And he gave me the old one. And no wonder he got the new one. And,
no wonder.
But this one, it reclines. It's a foot piece comes out. It's got a lumbar thing. Like
vibrates.
Holy mackerel! Talk about
it's
spoiled.
Camouflage.
Yeah. So anyway, finishing up rewrapping. Oh, and I'm getting ready to have my second eye surgery this Friday. And
this Friday?
This Friday, I get my second. They called today to confirm it's still on. So this Friday before Christmas, it's actually 7 days before Christmas, the Friday before Christmas. So by 7 days, I should have the guard off. It should be fine, and it shouldn't ruin my Christmas. Should be seeing great out of both eyes.
Perfect. Good deal. And you guys shot this week too?
No, we don't want to talk about that.
Hey, I do. If it was a bad day for Todd, I'd love to hear what happened.
We don't want to talk about that.
Well, Bill and I went to practice under the lights Wednesday night. Todd was busy. He was working, but Bill and I went, and I've been working on this armrest where I can actually hold my arm in a certain position to be able to get the gun up. And I think I've got it worked out even a little better coming this week. So I don't want to lift it up completely so it doesn't get exercised, because I got to try and find different muscles to lift my gun. So anyway, I'm excited about trying it this week and see, because my goal now is to get back shooting competition by next summer. And I got to use different muscles to get my arm up. There's no way that they believe that I'm worth going through the surgery. So anyway, working on it.
Good deal. Well, good luck, and I'm sure that eye surgery is going to make things a whole lot better. And breaking extra targets too.
He's got no excuses.
The ones Todd missed.
Oh yeah. No, that he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah. Have at it.
What'd you do, Bill? What'd you get up to this week?
Not much. It was wrap first time week. I don't rewrap anything. And actually, you know what I did? I outsourced that job. I got my son wrapping Christmas presents and my daughter wrapping, because I don't like it.
It's the age gap now, right? It's like, hey, you want to be a rapper? I've been thinking about being a rapper. Well, here you go. Get on her.
Yeah, they use a lot of tape.
What am I going to do after Christmas? I lose all my rapping jokes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we'll just break it into the remix.
Yeah, I did a couple racks of ribs. I didn't even send you pictures of those. I sent Jay pictures of those. I did 4 racks of ribs on the weekend on the Weber barbecue.
How do I rank? Well, la-dee-da.
Yeah, I was going to send you leftovers, but there really wasn't any after Monday, so it was good. It was a great day for getting the Weber out. And I keep saying every time I cook is going to be the last time of the year, but it just keeps being nicer weather, and I'm not that soft, so
Thanks, Jay. You beat me to it. I'm not that soft.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Awesome.
So we're graced with Jay. Jay, we never get you on for this kind of stuff. So what'd you do this week?
It's probably good that you don't normally get me on because I don't do a whole lot between work and here at the home. There's not much that I really get up to aside from hockey, which we're hoping is going to continue on. But I'm playing hockey once or twice a week, depending on the weeks, and that's pretty much all I get up to.
Is it pickup hockey?
We have created it started out as a pickup league that we have now created up into a 6-team league where we have a draft at the beginning of the season. We do a lot of charity work here in where I live. Every Christmas we do a big food drive. It's 84 guys that all know each other. We're all friends. We don't have to worry about any of the nonsense that you get into with some of the adult hockey leagues. It's all self-run.
The wannabe Proberts.
Yeah, there's none of that stuff. And I think last year we donated almost 8,000 pounds of food to one of our local charity places here. And, it's pretty good for 84 bums that just like to get out and play a little puck.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. And you guys are still being able to play even with the COVID crap going on, huh?
Well, we actually have the thought that this might be our last Wednesday before we get shut down
going
for another
red zone or whatever they call it.
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate. We've had to jump through a lot of hoops to be able to play. Some weeks we've had to half dress in the parking lot. We're not given a lot of time in the rinks. We're wearing masks right up to the time where we step on the ice. But these are the hoops we want to jump through to be able to play. So that's what we do. And we follow the rules and we've been able to get in 8-9 weeks roughly worth of hockey so far.
That's awesome. Right on.
Yeah.
And you guys do so much for the community.
Too, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Friggin' right.
That's
Right on.
awesome. Yeah, so it's good that we got you on because my understanding there's a couple good stories that we want to get into here from some of the escapades of the deer hunting week, and you had a pretty successful year all in all, I'd say.
Well, yeah, I would say I had a lot of firsts this year, and it's been definitely one of the most exciting, well, I guess the last couple of months, hunting wise I've ever had between, the goose hunting earlier on. That was a first with you guys up there. And then a couple of fun experiences down here. And I checked a few things off on my hunting wish list this season. So I don't know where you want to start. You can get right into it if you'd like, or whatever you'd like, wherever you want to go.
Man, I'll let Bill lead the charge.
Yeah. Well, we could. I'd like to hear about before I got to the hunt camp. I'd really like to hear that. And I don't know if Todd or Don has heard any of that story whatsoever. You know what we're talking about, Todd?
I do not.
Okay.
So are we talking my turkey hunt? If that's what you're
turkey.
We're going to say hunt, and we're going to use that term real loosely.
I think it was quite a hunt.
Yeah, it was, to me, it was a phenomenal hunt. I want to set a few things straight as we progress here too. I've been listening to the podcast and listening to my brother tell some stories that may have been a little bit stretched.
I love it. I love it.
What's said on the podcast in previous weeks stays on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
That door is open, Jay.
I'll start with myself and my buddy TJ. We were heading up to the hunt camp on the Friday, October 30th, I believe it was. And, we were heading up there, took the day off work, getting ready for the rifle season. Pretty excited to get away from work and get up and spend some bush time with my dad, my brother, as we call it, the Alliance. I know, Todd, you love that.
Wait. The Alliance.
Yeah. So got up there Friday and we just kind of puttered around the camp there a little bit with myself and TJ, my dad. We were talking a little bit about the turkey, the fact that I had a fall turkey tag still in my pocket. I hadn't had an opportunity to get out. I bought it with the hopes I'd be able to get out. And we were just kind of talking around at dinner that night. Oh, we, hope to maybe see a turkey. We had one day left in the hunt and everything else. And I had never shot one before. I had my bow with me And, I didn't even know really where to shoot.
I like this. I like where this is going.
Just as a caveat, we have hunted turkeys before. This is not the first time that you've ever been in and I use this loosely in the woods hunting turkeys.
Yeah.
But this is part of what the almost guy reputation comes from, because Jay and I have been out on many almost opportunities where we've seen birds and had them close and had them calling back to us, and just were never ever able to seal a deal. And those mornings where you get up at way before legal shooting, like get your camo on, get everything all set up, drive, I don't know, half an hour to the spots where we would go to. And that's how we would hunt turkeys when I was living down in the Niagara region. And even at the hunt camp, when we were up there for spring turkey hunting, we would do the same thing. We'd walk around the bush, try to figure out the right spots, call birds, see if we get some calls back. And it's not exactly how it happened.
No, it's really not. And from my previous experiences with Bill hunting turkey and, the minimal knowledge I have, you got to get up early. You got to get all your camo on. You got to get in the bush and get hunkered down and, wait for them to come out of roost, and you got to call them in. And, it's a big, long process. And again, we were sitting around the camp table that night, after dark, and we were just talking about it. And, I like to pick my dad's brain, and we just, like to gain experience through each other. And the conversation was, when you have a bow, the perfect shot on a turkey is actually to hit them in the rear end.
Yeah, Texas heart shot.
That was the conversation. So I thought, well, I'd never, even really given that much thought, because anytime I think we'd been out in the bush, if I recall correctly, Bill, we always had shotgun.
We did.
And that's
every time.
That's a different shot. So Saturday morning we get up, and we have no intention to go out hunting Saturday morning. We were going to hunt Saturday afternoon for deer with the bows. And we just kind of were, puttering around again, having breakfast, sitting, having coffee. Now, I wasn't drinking coffee because I'm not a coffee drinker.
Wait a minute.
I'm not a tea drinker either.
You're a Coke drinker or a Pepsi drinker, right?
I am. I like my Monsters energy drinks, and I like my Pepsis and Coke. So.
We getting ready to go goose hunting. I put the coffee pot on, and I told Bill, "You're on your own. I think there's some iced tea in the fridge. I don't even know what you're going to drink there." And then Jay comes up. Nope, he's not having coffee. He's got like a 2-liter bottle of pop or whatever in his hand. I'm like, dude, it's like 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's what I drink. So, so it's roughly 8:00 in the morning, and we have a big bay window that looks out over kind of our pond and a little bit of a bush outside the hunt camp itself. And we're sitting around, fire's going. I'm sitting in my red plaid pajamas and a hoodie. And my buddy.
Wait. For all you ladies out there, he's taken. Sorry.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I'm wearing my true Canadian winter pajama wear. And I'm looking fantastic. And I
didn't know whether to go to Walmart or go sit against a tree.
Yeah, absolutely. I fit in well around where I live. Let's put it that way. My buddy TJ looks out the window and he says, "There's a turkey out there." Oh my goodness, there's 3 of them out there. I kind of didn't even really, I was barely awake. And I said, well, I've got a turkey tag. My dad goes, "Well, go shoot him." So I jumped up, wearing my slippers, wearing my red pajama pants, have a hoodie. I run back, I grab my bow, cock it, go outside, and now I'm Elmer Fudding across the grass. I can't find them.
I love this picture. You're painting a great picture. I'm loving it.
I'm seeing a cartoon of like.
I'm legitimately high stepping across the wet grass, towards where I think.
What's on your feet?
On my slippers, wearing my slippers.
You're serious? See, I'm picturing that. The photos. I'm picturing the photos where the old hunter guy is leaning against a tree and he's half asleep, and the buck is sitting there beside him. This is what I'm picturing right now. When Jay is in his pajamas and slippers with a bow. Now, crossbow.
Okay.
Crossbow. Well, we won't hold it. I mean, we get it. You're Bill's brother. You
lay off the crossbow. Back off.
Yeah.
So I don't realize that TJ is actually taking a video of this. So there is a video of this.
Oh, is
me
there?
walking across.
Oh,
Yes,
we
there
gotta
is. And
see
I
it.
didn't want to show you the video until he told the story.
I'll send it back to you. So
Awesome.
I walk out, I go, and I can't find where exactly they are. So I pause, and I'm doing just like Elmer Fudd would do, where he's got the bow up, or in his case, obviously the gun, and I'm waiting for some movement, and all of a sudden I see them go running across. So I'm thinking, okay, if I run through this little bush here, I can head them off. And I disappear out of the video sight. And sure enough, they run across. I pull the bow up and I fire a shot. And I watch my Luminoc arrow go through the bush. And I hear the turkey take off. And they all take off. And I'm sure if you've had a flock of them around you, you know what they sound like when they all go.
So hold on. How many birds was there? Just to let the three that you thought there was? How many was it?
My estimation, there was likely 10 turkeys. And they were within 25 yards. I got within 25 yards of them doing what I was doing.
In your plaid pajamas
In
and
my
slippers.
bright red plaid. I'm wearing them right now. My bright red plaid pajama pants, my slippers, and I got a hoodie on. And I'm, my hair's all over the place. I'm barely awake. So
The Walmart
I think it was
Ninja.
even a white hoodie.
it very well could have been a white hoodie. So just
There was
then,
no camel at all in this.
zero cam. I hadn't even got a chance to put anything on yet.
It's because the turkeys were like, what the flip is this thing
They
coming
had
here?
no
They were
idea
in
what was
awe. Like, they didn't even know what to do. They're like, this isn't even, okay, this guy can't be serious. He's not a hunter. We don't have nothing to worry about. Like, he's obviously got lost heading out to the variety store or something.
Well,
He was on his way to the outhouse and took her on.
Right.
so I come walking back out of the bush and I hear the turkeys take off and I hear this big loud thud and I can hear it and I'm confident that I smoked this bird and I come out and TJ's already come out. He heard it too. We go, we find my arrow. There's good blood on the arrow. We have that, as Bill called it a few podcasts ago, the perfect blood trail. We start following this, and I'm walking through all the thick, grass and sticks and trees, and we're following the blood trail. And sure enough, about 50 yards away, the turkey had flown straight into a hill, laying there. I pick it up, and the shot went right through the rear end. It was a perfect shot, perfect time experience, and that was my first ever turkey that I've ever harvested. One of the funnest, like just the story behind the whole thing for me just makes it that much better.
Absolutely.
So,
and that's, see, you made it happen.
I was just going to say, he made it happen.
Yeah.
I made it happen.
That's
so I'll
turkey
make
hunting.
sure to send you the pictures and videos.
Oh, I want the video. You got to send it tonight. I need that video.
And he saved it for me when I got there. I showed up. And it was a successful week already, right? Because we had already had a harvested animal. We could relax for the week. He took the monkey off our back. And I did the turkey tail on it.
Yeah.
Did you really?
I asked Bill to do it for me. He said, well, I've never done one because I'll say it was a hen. And he said, well, I've never done one like this before. I said, well, I don't care that it didn't have a beard because for me, it's the first one. And again, with the experience behind it, that to me is the story. That's a story piece for me.
Are you going to do like a full mount for him, Bill, and put like pajama pants on it?
I'll make sure the picture's there with it. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get the picture because they took a really nice picture back in the we got sort of a bug. What do you call it?
Like a screened-in room, yeah, like a four-season room, three-season
screen porch there, and on the table he's sitting beside that in his pajama pants, with the crossbow across there with the hen and the hen turkey and the arrow, and it makes a really nice picture. If you don't. If you think he hit it by a car or something, that's pretty much what it looks like.
I can't believe you guys held this story from me this long.
I was going to say.
I'd like to say for so many years and even just in the podcast itself also, you guys are always talking about your ozonics and your scent controls and your camos and all these things that you guys do. And I am not that guy at all.
But I will say, Jay, in turkey hunting, I am not that guy either. I'm with you. Turkey hunting, if I did it that serious, I'd be bored out of my skull. I like what you did. That's making it happen. I love that. And I can't believe you guys held it from us this long.
For several weeks now, we've been hearing from Bill, you got to hear Jay's turkey story. We're going to get him on. We're going to get him on. And I'm thinking, well, finally, tonight, we're going to hear this turkey story. And you know what? It was better than my expectations. It was
going to say.
Awesome. I was going to say, that's it. I'm hanging up the shotgun. I'm going to start running through the woods with my crossbow.
Well,
that's incredible. And I don't even have to worry about camo.
Yeah. Well, let's define running first.
Well, that was the beginning of the week, and that as Bill said, started the week off as good as can be. And I'll tell you, that turkey we cooked that up.
Man,
later in the week, it was one of the best pieces of meat I think I've ever had.
Oh yeah,
it was phenomenal. Yeah. My mom came out and we breasted out the bird and put it on ice, and it was part of our Thursday night hunter special, what you want to call it, where we had, it was pretty special for the family because we had turkey taken off the land, we had venison tenderloin, we had potatoes grown in my dad's garden. I think the only thing that we didn't have was the carrots or the vegetable that was taken from my garden, but everything else was harvested from us, and that was our Thursday. And that turkey was phenomenal. We butterflied it, cut the breasts in half. Mom put a special. You don't ever tell her shake and bake because it's not. No. It's a shake and bake like stuff, but it's way better than shake and bake.
It's her own version of a shake and bake, and it's a million times better than a shake and bake.
Yeah, and I think she cast iron panned it on the camp stove, and it was awesome. Yeah, it was one of the best pieces of meat that I've had.
No doubt.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that's the turkey story. So,
that's awesome.
That is a good story. I like it.
So I don't know. If you want, I can tell you the deer story, one or both, whatever you'd like, or we can.
So, I'd like to. You know what? I don't understand what you're talking about, rights and wrongs. First of all,
I like this. This. Me and Dad are just going to sit back. It's usually us arguing. You guys go right ahead.
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is I will agree that yes, Bill is usually, if not always, the first one up in the camp, raring to go. No question about it. He's the one that'll get up and start the fire, and he'll run out to the outhouse. He's very much like my dad, whether he wants to admit it or not. I am always the last one up, no question about it. TJ is not as up late as I am. He is usually up with Bill, if not in and around the same time. But they like to have their breakfast and have all their various
before they go hunting. They have breakfast.
Oh yeah, they have their breakfast.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Get up earlier,
right? Ain't nobody got time for that.
And Bill seems to think that he's in the bush sitting 20 minutes before the rest of us are even leaving the camp and everything else. That is maybe one day a week out of the
Come on.
Usually opening morning, we are all out, raring to go. Second morning, we're all out. He might be a couple minutes early. As the week progresses, I generally am further and further away from him during the timelines, but it's not always 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever he likes to make us think. So it's not that bad.
Unbelievable.
So I told Bill recently, we were looking at some of these makeshift hunting shacks and everything else and how much fun they'd be in. And he's got his Taj Mahal because he's a little bit softer than the rest of us. And my statement was,
can I get an amen?
My statement was hunting should be painful. You should be able to, have that pain in your back and that shivering cold. I sit in an open air tree stand and I shiver and I get rained on and I get snowed on. All the while he's sitting there making his sandwich on his hunting buddy and having his really nice snack trail mixes that his wife makes.
This is the same guy that every time he shoots a deer, it's to the bottom of a swamp, or he falls in the swamp up to his neck. And I'm the soft. Who was the one down there dragging it out and helping it?
Yeah.
Soft. So this is what it's all about. It's preparing for the inevitable search. So I need to keep myself rested and you know.
I'm sure he's trying to get his energy up, because when I pull the trigger, he knows he's got to walk 100 miles to get it, uphill both ways.
Well, you know, I sat here and my respect for you went way high, Jay, with that hunt, making it happen and the whole bit. And then you turn around and tell me that hunting should be painful, the cold, the snow, and hunger. And after doing it for 50 years, now I just think you're crazy. Because I'm going for the Taj Mahal.
It's like working out. No pain, no gain. You appreciate it more if you have to suffer a little bit.
This is true. I feel the same way, Todd. I'm on your side here.
Right?
It's unbelievable.
I gotta say, Phil's wife is really nice, and she makes him these really nice trail mixes with all these various bird seeds and things that he likes to eat in them.
Oh, they're awesome.
I make trail mixes at camp, which involves me opening up a Snickers bar and a Reese peanut butter cup and some M&Ms, and I throw it in a bag, and that's my trail mix for the day.
Oh, I know. I pull out my peanut butter and jam sandwich on soggy bread, and I say, "What do you got, Todd?" "Well, I don't know it. I'm not sure what Jen packed for me today. I got to look at these 7 or 8 nicely wrapped items." Like, holy mackerel.
Okay, I don't often do this, but I'm going to side with Bill on just this one, that just maybe, we married the right women. I'm just saying.
Oh, I would never say that about my wife. She makes great food and snacks. I just pack my own trail mix, that's all.
I just packed my own trail mix.
All right. So we've established that I was at 98% right on the calls. So that was like a 2% upgrade on the story.
Yes. Yeah. We got to get a few of these facts straight. That's all.
All right.
So
I like it.
So what happened? Who was it? Monday morning?
So I think it was Monday that is the day that you got your deer, if I recall correctly. We had that really sloppy Sunday night where I almost got run over. I was sitting in my tent. I very rarely do it, but with my bow, I like to sit in my tent for the Sunday if I have opportunity. And I had almost got run over by a deer because you could hear, I think Bill talked about it last week, where you could hear the wind coming. Yeah. Sounds like a jet. And, you could hear the wind coming across, and the deer was right basically in front of that wind, and it was running full tilt, and within 5 feet, I could have reached out of my tent and grabbed it. It ran that close. It was, came from out of nowhere and was gone just as quick.
So bizarre, because I listened back to the podcast from the last, and I heard the wind thing again. And I mean, we had that conversation, and I can't fathom, because I know what you mean by you can hear the wind coming. I don't ever believe, and we've had some wind. I mean, I've hunted for a long time, and Dad's hunted even longer than me, and where we are, we get wind. But I've never really had it where it's that heavy of a wind, fast of a wind, crazy, that it's scaring deer, and deer are running from it and hunkering and hiding, and like, it blows my mind that wind, and it was only 30 seconds and then it stopped again or something, right? Like it's.
But it was calm before, almost eerily calm before, and you could hear this coming forever. Yeah, and then it hit TJ because he was farthest back, and then it hit me, and then it came to Jay. Like, just the way the wind was progressing, and almost as fast as it was there, it was gone.
It was gone. It lasted for, at most a 10-minute start to finish, but it was enough time that deer came running right past me. We had all decided we were going to pack it in because we didn't think anything was moving. And as I was packing up, that deer, like I said, ran right past my tent within 5 feet, but it was running full tilt, just trying to keep ahead and get hunkered into the bush.
No
to my opinion, anyway. It was pretty neat to see. And that led us into Monday, where I know Bill told the story of this was the perfect hunt. Is that what you call this one? Or that was the buck?
That was the buck.
So Bill talked about his doe a couple weeks ago, I guess it was, and this was the other. I don't know if I disagreed with what he said per se, but it was funny how we all, Bill shot his doe, and I think if I recall correctly, it was in and around 1:00. Is fair.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
So yeah, it took us about 15 minutes, give or take, to kind of pack down out of our stands and meet up with Bill and, you know, celebrate Bill's harvest and, you know, high five and cheers and, you know, get everything kind of packed up. And sure enough, you know, Bill said, yeah, you know, go hunt. Absolutely. And we said, are you sure? You know, we
know you're a little soft, Bill. Are you sure you want us to leave you alone at this time?
Yeah.
Well, I will say we, as the camp and as the Alliance, when anybody harvests, we all like to be a part of it. We all like to be a part of the whole process. And you know, we were hesitant to go back out because we wanted to be there to help Bill, you know, do what was necessary to prep the deer and everything else. And, you know, there was still 3-4 hours worth of daylight left. And Bill said, no, you know, Dad and I got it. You and TJ head back out. No problem. So where Bill was hunting in his Taj Mahal, and I think he said to the entrance to where I go into my section of bush, it's roughly 300 yards or something like that.
Yeah,
Bill?
just about that. Yeah,
so, and then I hunt at the back side of that bush, which is about another 300 or so yards, maybe. So it, you know, I walk down the pathway and I hear them go by with their ATVs, and TJ goes back to, I believe he was hunting Candace's Corners, if I recall correctly, which is again about another 300, you know, yards that as the crow flies from me. I was sitting in my stand, got climbed up in there, and within, I would say, 5 minutes, I had a doe walk up out of the bush or out of the swamp where my buck last year came out of. So I had the gun up and I was hoping to see another one with her, and she kind of decoyed me a little bit. She walked off and disappeared. Well, all of a sudden I hear that that you hear when you know a deer's running, and a buck comes running from behind me. And I'm positive when TJ was walking into his spot, he spooked this buck and sent him my direction. And this buck ran right under my stand, jumped right over my pile of apples that you guys make fun of me for.
Pile.
And when he jumped over that pile of apples, he stopped on a dime.
That's one heck of a buck. That's like super deer to get over that pile. He leaped the apples in one bound? No way.
He went jumping over. I'm sure he caught a whiff of them or whatever, because he stopped on a dime and turned broadside. And he was about 65 yards, and I knew it was a buck. I could see the glow of his, or what I call the glow of his antlers. And because I had my gun at the ready for the doe, all I had to do was turn. And I'll say, when I had it on the doe, I knew I wasn't shooting. I didn't take my safety off.
All right. I'm glad that you were going to say that part.
Okay, but hold on, because you guys, now this is where I'll say you do impress me. Because, Dad, how far would that doe have made it when you, by the time you seen it, to get your gun up?
As soon as I saw it, gun up, safety off.
And then the thing would have been drilled. And you guys are like, well, I'm going to wait and see what comes out. There could be a buck or two with this doe. So I'm just going to give it time.
We only had one more doe tag, and it was still Monday. We still had the agreement. So we thought of 6 points or better, and we'll talk about that in a few seconds. So I knew I wasn't going to pull, and I don't take my safety off until I'm pretty much confident I'm going to pull the trigger on something. So I didn't have the safety off. When that buck came running out, it all happened so quickly. I swung across, had the crosshairs on a broadside, of course, pull the trigger, nothing happened. I'll tell you, that buck, I didn't even give it a millisecond before finger up, safety off, pull the trigger. And I watched him mule kick. I knew that I'd hit him hard. And of course,
where does he go?
Off he goes.
Yeah, right down in the depths of this swamp. And and I hear what you guys are talking about. So you guys have that hill, and it's 45-degree angle. What you're describing is half, I would say, what our, or twice as much as what the hill is. But it's still steep. It's nothing but trees and fallen trees and logs and swamp up to your shins, going across there, trying to find this deer. And I would say, fair statement, 9 out of 10 deer you shoot goes down in that swamp.
Yeah, that's fair. I have no doubt. But hold on.
It just sounds to me like Bill's soft. Doesn't like.
I think he's just bitter with the fact that my deer always go there and they don't drop on the spot.
He's like
his deer somewhere.
Jay's got the good spot where they come up out of the swamp. Maybe if I chirp him enough, he'll move.
He can have it. Just drop him on the spot, and I'd be a little less sore the next day.
So I will have to say that yes. As soon as I pulled the trigger and I get on the phone and TJ already has messaged me. Is that you? Sure enough, yes, that's me. I just shot a buck. TJ's probably angry because he probably hasn't been in a stand for 2 minutes, which again, you'll understand as the rest of the stories Bill have told have progressed.
TJ, if you listen to these, my man, I give you kudos and I feel so bad for you. You put out all the deer for these tomboys. They invite you. I'm starting to think that you're invited for one reason. They put you in the stand. They give you the crappy 4-wheeler. They make you have to walk a mile. I think there's reason behind all this. You're pushing deer. You're getting them there without even knowing it's happening.
Were you not the same guy that said hunting shouldn't be easy? It needs to be a little bit tough. You need to,
yeah, right? Yeah. And TJ's got the worst of it. You're got the easy one.
Yeah.
If you spread out if you spread out that over the rest of us, then we all got it the same.
We all got it the same. We got to bring TJ on because I think the true story is TJ. He sets the story straight. He's probably the guy going down, dragging him up. He's the one doing all the drives. He's probably back in there cooking breakfast for everybody. I want to hear from TJ.
Well, I wouldn't go as far as saying cooking breakfast, but I'll tell you, he's got no problem, jumping right in and dragging any deer that goes down. He's the first one, especially when it comes to tracking. That guy loves tracking. He's like a little bloodhound. He gets on a trail and he just goes. You can't reel him in till he's on the deer. So you got to give him a little bit of credit, but yeah,
he's tough.
I would also like to say, if he ever comes on, ask him about how his first deer went down and how he was able to harvest that and how easy that was based on the people around him and how they got him set up. But he still had to make the shot, so we'll give him credit for that.
I think we have to bring him on now. It's a no-brainer.
So anyway, sure enough, I texted Bill, and Bill, as he said, wasn't even barely back to the camp with his deer. And sure enough, they, essentially just dumped the deer out to get the trailer empty and head right back out. And we were able to find my buck. And again, they so graciously dragged it up the hill, and we took him back. And so where that first comes into effect for me is that ended up being the very first deer that I've ever European mounted myself. So skip ahead to the end of the week when I got it home.
You bleached the skull?
We did, we followed Bill's recipe.
I was going to say, walk me through this. So I European mount all of our deer for the most part. Not. Absolutely. I mean, the one Dad will take him and he will cut off the antlers for some and they go on the wall. The odd one, I have done a European mount, which consists of me and Scotty digging up beside his garden, beside his deck, because we got to tie a rope on him in case the rodents dig him up, carry him away, or raccoons. And so we will bury him, good 3 feet down. And then in the spring, and actually we quit doing that now because we did lose, Scott lost 2 from animals in the winter. So now we hang him in his tree out back. And then it turns in like 6 months from that. You got a beautiful European mount.
Let me see how much of this I remember.
All right.
Because again, I do rely on you, and I fully admit it. I rely on Bill's expertise when it comes to a lot of these things. So we took the hide off the skull first and got that all cleaned up, and we picked away and used our little, tools, they're almost like dentist type tools to get as much as
you're already too much work.
Well,
a rope in a tree.
So we do all of that. That took roughly about an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. Then we boiled the head for 2 hours, but we didn't boil. We simmered.
Right.
I think is what it was. We simmered for 2 hours with a little bit of OxyClean in the water. And again, it wasn't a boil, it was a simmer. When we took it out, added around the 2 hours, a lot of the remaining meat came off. We had to pick away a whole bunch of, the excess. We had to get the brains out of the head and everything else.
How did you do that? How do you get the brains out?
Well,
So
there's a couple different ways. One is very, very wrong, and I'll tell you that from personal experience.
Don't use a pressure washer.
Straw,
Don't use an air
spoon?
compressor. That's
Air compressor, yeah. So it actually comes out like it's like a gelatin at that point. And we essentially there's different ways where you can put a little, like, cut a straw, put it on your drill bit, put it in there, and swirl it around, and it'll come out like goop. But for the most part, we took a little like hook that a dentist would use, and we were able to get most of it out. It actually came very clean. And then we simmered it again in fresh water, OxyClean, for about roughly another hour or so.
What you're not mentioning is the odor.
no,
Honestly,
you know what?
it's not as bad as what everybody thinks. I thought it was going to be significantly worse. Don't get me wrong. It's not pleasant if you put your head right down in there.
Yeah.
But
Are you
it
doing
was
this
not-
outside?
We were doing it in TJ's garage. So
So
do
I've
mine
actually,
outside.
I've done it in my kitchen. And
No wonder. I don't know why
yeah,
you're
no
still
kidding.
married.
and I will
So-
tell you, like, for 3 hours, it is not a pleasant smell.
So the only thing that I had to be aware of, and I was kind of nervous with the nasal cavity. There's a bone that I guess always breaks, and you just kind of glue that back on afterwards, which I did, and it actually came off in a very clean break. But all in all, I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. It's on the wall downstairs. It was a full day's project, mostly because I had never done it before, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm very happy with how it turned out. So that was another first for me this year, doing that one all by myself. With TJ's help, of course. I shouldn't say all by myself. TJ and I worked very well together, but it was the first one that I guess I had done without Bill or anything like that. So that was
good.
a cool
And
experience.
you'll know, there's two things you'll know. If you don't get it all, when you put it on the hook in the house, your wife will have a few words with you after a week or so of the odor of it.
Or
coming
will
off.
she?
or will she? Yeah. Or the second thing too is if you don't put the when you're washing it in the sink afterwards, you can use a compressor, but there's a nice, really thin material inside the nasal cavity that it'll just blow apart if you use an air compressor. And so I don't use that anymore. But the biggest thing I've done to help myself out is take as much or more of the meat off as you can possibly get before it goes in the water the first time.
See, and my method, I don't lose the nasal cavity, the bone. I don't have to glue any of that back
you're right.
on.
No,
You're absolutely.
And it takes absolutely no time of mine.
I
Yeah,
would say the one mistake that I made is when we brought it home, I had it in my freezer and I had taken it out the day before, and I should have taken it out 2 days prior. So it was a little bit harder to get the skin off and the rest of the meat at the initial startup process. I think that would have cut down on the amount of time it took us initially.
You learn. These are learning processes, and it turned out really good. So
that was another first. And then I've had one more hunting first if there's time for it. I don't know where you're at on your timing.
Yeah, I say keep going. How
So-
often do we get two Toms on here?
Well, my final first for me, I know Bill talked about at the beginning of one of your podcasts a couple weeks ago. I have always wanted to shoot a buck with my bow, and I was fortunate enough a couple weeks ago to check that one off my hunting wish list. We hunt some property down here in Niagara. We've got 4 buddies down here that we hunt with. We've got a few tags, 5 of us, and there's a couple of tags were left over after the rifle hunt. And I was able to come down here. I know that Bill doesn't keep his mouth shut all the time and shows me some pictures.
So there's
of some
5
deer that we might-
dudes. There's 5 dudes hunting that area with you? Bow hunting that area?
okay,
There's 5 of us that are able to hunt it. At no point in time, I think, if we ever had all 5 of us in the same bush.
But they all have the ability or permissions to hunt it. And so
Yeah.
were they
It is
aware
private.
of this buck that I
Oh,
had
yeah.
seen?
hey,
we
let's just put
share
the story
the-
straight to start off with. The whole thing was, Todd, can you keep a secret?
But I said
That's
no.
how it was
I
started
straight
out.
up said no.
51 podcasts later, I know that the answer to that question is automatically no.
I said no. I answered nope.
So
I know who I am.
I will say that we have had this year a little bit more activity than I've ever seen in this area before, and some very nice looking deer.
Well, with that one, I don't know how all 5 guys weren't there for like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You're telling me. We have about 4 deer that are very respectable aside from that one as well. And for me, I was trying to get out as much as I could every weekend I could. And I was fortunate enough to get out. And I will say, leading up to this, some of the coolest pictures I have this year, I actually have a deer tending a scrape right in front of my camera, creating a scrape right in front of my camera. Some really, really neat pictures that I've never seen or had before of some bucks, doing buck activity, I guess, for lack of a better word. So I was fortunate enough on a Saturday a couple of weeks ago to be out. I have 2 squirrels that are always playing around me, and sure enough, they were there that morning. They decoyed me again. I'm really bad for getting decoyed by these other animals. I was focused on these squirrels, and I could hear something coming through. I thought it was one of those. Sure enough, one of the bucks that we had seen come walking out to me at about 30 yards, broadside, and I had the bow up and ready to go, safety off on this one. Instantly, he walked right to the scrape that the other deer had made. Seemed like he wanted nothing to do with it, turned and walked away from me broadside, and I let loose the arrow and instantly got on the phone. That was me, or I took a shot. Pretty excited. I know that I've hit this deer. I watched the Luminok arrow again go through, but I couldn't see it in the pathway in front of me there. So I was kind of, you always get that instant, oh, was that a good shot? Oh, did I hit it? I've always got that.
It's the first minute you're like, yes. And then at a minute and 1 second, it's like, do you think that was a good shot? Crap. Was that a good shot?
And
where did I actually hit it?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, where did I actually hit it? Where did that arrow actually land?
And I'm pretty sure that my message to Bill and TJ and the other guys was, I may have been a little bit high, I think is what my statement was. But I know you guys talked a few weeks back about, have you ever had that experience, that one that got away? And unfortunately, I've had a monster get away. It's that fish story, the big one that got away. Well, it's a story for another day, but I've had that experience. So every time I shoot now, I instantly have that, did I make the right shot? That instant, sense of doubt.
And it's tough in my opinion, it's tough with a Luminok type arrow, because when it goes through, if that kicks, it could be a perfect shot going through, and for the first, call it however long, halfway through the cavity. And if it kicks and hits, it looks like it's further back than it actually is, right? And
I see what you're saying. Like it hits and slides to the right kind of thing. If it's moving, like it moves back. Yeah, I got you. I know what you're saying.
And I didn't know. So I basically said, you know what? I'm going to sit and I'm going to wait, do the when in doubt, back out mentality. So sure enough, I waited about 25 minutes. I climbed out of the tree. I went to where I thought I took, where the deer was standing. I found my arrow in the ground about 10 yards behind it, and I had great blood on the arrow, but it had only been about a half an hour. So I decided I'm just going to back out. I'm going to go back to the vehicles. I'm going to, unload half my gear, take as much stuff off as I can, because sure enough, I do hunt in an area down here where there is the smallest bit of swamp, but that's exactly where the deer ran, of course. And we got back into the bush at about an hour, found that perfect blood trail, as we call it.
Some perfect blood trail. I know
one of the guys that listens to your podcast, I think he goes by the name Teachers That Hunt.
Yeah.
He's actually a buddy of ours that hunts that same land with us. His name's Tyler, and he has never shot a deer before. So we had him on the trail of blood, and, it's that perfect first ever hunter, what to look for type blood trail. And the deer had only run about 60 yards at most, I think. We found it laying there, and it was a double lung shot, harvested it, and, again, check that one off the bucket list, get one with my bow. Great experience. Called my brother. Hey, you coming down? I wasn't expecting him to say yes, to be honest with you. We were going to butcher it up ourselves.
Just because of who he is, right? I get it.
Yeah, he's 2 hours
Freaking
away.
Bill.
You know, I knew he had a family. I wasn't expecting him to come down, but I said, "You coming down?" He said, "Yeah." So we
So what
Yeah,
I'm also
he
hearing,
made-
Bill, is you kind of imposed because he's like, I got to ask Bill out of like it's an etiquette thing. I know he's not going to come, so I'm going to extend the olive branch. We're safe. Oh, crap. He's coming.
Yeah. And he made it sound like when he got down, you know, we had very little done with the deer, and he comes in and stuff it all.
That's what
We
he
had
said.
the
He
deer
said you
gutted.
guys
We
stayed
had
6
it-
feet apart, and he didn't say the whole thing on the podcast. What he told me personally, he was like, okay, on the podcast, I got to give him some kudos, but really they stayed like 6 feet apart drinking beer.
Yeah.
And I had to do the whole work, quarter the animal and butcher it and get it all ready, the whole 9 yards.
So the truth of the story is
Here we
we
go.
had it all gutted out, and we got it back, and we hung it in my garage, which didn't make my wife very happy. And we skinned most of it. And I will say, when it comes to skinning
Most
deer,
of it. You had hardly anything done on it. The tail wasn't even cut. I was there to cut that with Tyler. You had it hung up. You had to even figure out how to put the eye hook in the garage because that wasn't there. So that took time.
we took some time to do that, but we skinned most of it until it got down to the shoulder, because I was going to do a head and shoulder mount with it. And I'll give Bill credit when it comes to that fine, you know, surgical
There's
type
no
stuff.
doubt in my mind he's the dude you want doing it.
He is very meticulous, and that's when we said, "Have at her, Bill. We'll stand back and have a drink here and watch you work for a few minutes." And but then yes, Bill did say that we had a really good system going when it came time to butcher that deer up, and you know we had basically like an assembly line, and Bill was boning it out and cutting it out, and TJ was taking the deer and cutting it into pieces to grind. I was grinding it up, and Bill's son was helping us, be the runner, grab this, move that, tie this, all the meticulous things. And I'm telling you, it was an amazing day. It was a very long day, but the whole experience itself was awesome. Just
very, very much enjoyed it. Yeah, I wouldn't have had it any other way. Driving 2 hours and helping out. I mean, it was well worth being part of that experience. And
You took him away from Ladies Pottery Day.
Yeah, I heard he was supposed to be doing something like that, and I think Candace was probably upset that he wasn't able to go.
No, she was ecstatic because then she actually got Women's Pottery Day.
Sure.
Don, come on, help me out here. I'm getting tag teamed here, and it's not right.
I feel for you, Bill. I really do. I was sitting here thinking, you know what? I'm only 5 minutes away. I'd have said nope. First of all, I wouldn't have even got the invite because he doesn't even want me around because I'd be telling him he's doing it wrong. So
he says this, but again, revert back to a couple podcasts. Who did all of our deer this year?
You mean gutted them at the site?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the hard work. I mean, come on.
Finally, after 50 years, he's pulling his weight.
Yeah.
Good.
Hey, but you know what? The other thing too with that deer, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast. There was zero fat on that deer.
Yes, you did. You mentioned that, but it's true. We couldn't believe how little.
See, and that's weird because all of our deer had a lot of fat because somebody said, "Oh, hard winter's coming. Look at all the fat on these deer."
Yeah,
and we're more southern than you.
Yeah, our deer at the hunt camp were the same way, I believe. But this one down here,
you just got you got like the Cameron Hayes of bucks, right? Like the lean. He's Richard Simmons.
Yeah,
zero fat on it. It was incredible. So yeah, it was fun.
Fitbit buck.
You had a good year.
So yeah, that's my year. We still got I think one more tag, possibly two. I gotta find out if the one guy's used his or not yet. But I think we've got it. I know for sure one. And we've got a couple of days before the end of the year that we're going to try and get out possibly this weekend if the weather allows and everybody's schedules align. So, our mentality is more eyes in the bush to fill the tag that's remaining is better. So, we're hoping to get out at least one, if not two more times before the end of the year.
That's awesome. Yeah, you have had. That's one heck of it. Like this podcast, that's 3 hunting stories in a month that you were successful. Month and a half. It's
been a good year.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, and the funny thing is, and this is, I'm going to, take a page out of your guys' book and say to anybody who's listening, I went 16 years before I harvested my first real buck.
You hunted for 16 years before you
harvested my first true buck.
It's hanging out with the almost guy. It was your mentor.
It's true. I had shot many doe. I had missed when I was, early on in my hunting career, as you want to call it, I guess. But, 16 years before I'd harvested my first buck, and I've now got 3 in a year and a half. So it's time and persistence.
The faucet has opened up.
I'm telling you, and I don't need the ozonics, and I don't need
Here we go.
Fancy stuff. I just
You
need
say
to
that
sit
now.
quiet in the bush.
I want to see the picture that was sent to me. I want to see that one on the wall with no ozonics in your plaid pants.
Yeah. You're not getting that, fella.
I'm with you, Jay. I'm with you. I agonize over this because Todd is the one that's got to be up so early in the morning and wants to be in the bush an hour before light and has to walk like a deer. Dad, walk like a deer. How do you walk like a deer? I'm 2 legs with arthritis on my knees, but walk like a deer. And don't step on that stick. I can't even see the ground. It's so dark. And I'll tell you, he always wants to walk me in so I don't get lost, especially if I'm going to my one stand down in the valley in the thick of the woods. Well, one morning he walked me down there, and I've got these things on the ground, and I've got logs and sticks over logs that are directing me in there. And so he says, "Are you okay from here?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay from here." And he's carrying some of my stuff. So I put my stuff down, get the stuff from his, and I head in. I find my stand. I climb up. I get strapped in. I get everything strapped so that it doesn't fall out of the stand.
So when he falls asleep, he stays put.
Yeah, and my backpack, I strap it up there, and I make sure my gun's in a place where I'm not going to kick it out of there. And I thought, okay, I'm going to put the cap on my gun now, and my possibles bag is not here. Oh no. Now I got to get unstrapped. I got to go down out of the tree. I got to all the way back through the woods to where Todd left me in the field. And sure enough, there's my possible bag. So now it's daylight.
For those that don't know, a possibles bag is his leather satchel. It's got his reloads in it for his black powder.
Well, I don't do that anymore. Now I carry them in a pocket. But so anyway, my son-in-law can see me now. It's daylight. He sees me in my orange in the field.
Giant pumpkin.
What is going on? Don's in the field in daylight. So I go all now I'm hurrying. I'm not being quiet because this is daylight. I get back in. I get all strapped up. 20 minutes later, an 8-point buck walks to me and I shoot it. So I'm with you, Bill. I could have stayed in bed another hour and a half, drove myself, walked in at daylight, and shot that buck. And I'm with you, Jay.
And really, You know what it was? It was because when I went in and got him in there, I put little scent bombs out here and there. I brought that. He just doesn't know it. That I choreographed. I know his pattern. I choreographed the wind, the scent, where that buck would have been bedded down in relation to his stand so that it would walk out at the precise right time. And not a moment earlier.
That new chair is not fireproof, so stay away from the lightning bolt that's coming through that window.
I don't know.
I gotta say, Jay, it's been a pleasure having you on. I really have enjoyed your stories. I love the turkey story. I like the idea that you shot that first buck with your bow. It was incredible. I did. I sat here. I could see the picture. I could see it all. I really enjoyed listening to you.
It was
I appreciate you letting me tell it.
No, it was awesome. I appreciate you having you on. This was excellent.
Anytime. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And now I think we need to bring you and TJ back on. We could really have some real stories.
Oh, that could be a show and a half. That's for sure.
I'll tell you what, it'll be, maybe we'll do, we are at episode 51 right now. So we're going to 52, which is going to be the year that we're going to have to start a new season, because iTunes and all that has season 1 and we are in season 1. So I think we said after 52, that's 52 weeks in the year. We haven't missed a week that I believe we're going to go to season 2. So I think for like a season finale, we could do that. I think we could have, and it may just we may have to schedule some serious amount of time and make it one heck of a podcast.
I think we should look into it. I think we should look into getting them both back.
I can talk to him, see if he'd be interested in doing it, but I'll come anytime you guys want me to. I'm happy to be on here and chat with you guys.
Well, then we might just talk on the side. We don't have to tell Bill what night we're going to record.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Bill. I won't let that happen.
Appreciate it.
And we don't have to tell Dad either, Jake.
Yeah. You may be surprised some night, Todd. The Bill and I you'll be listening to a podcast. It'll be just Bill and I.
I'm pretty certain it's going to be Todd. Can you maybe produce this and post this up somewhere? I know when I'm safe.
That was a good episode tonight.
Yep. So. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Good job,
drive your
guys.
Dad home, would you?
What's that?
Drive your dad home, would you? Don't make him walk. It's cold out tonight.
No, I enjoy walking, Bill. I really do. I'm trying to lose another 10 pounds, even on top of what I lost before Christmas, because this house right now is baking all these cookies and muffins and cheesecake and there's all kinds of dessert and Christmas dinner. I'm trying to lose some weight, so I got a buffer so I can go through Christmas.
Yeah. Good luck. I should do the same. Jay's going to go on a workout routine to lose 10 pounds as well. But
he is. He's doing 25 push-ups a day.
Yeah, that's about as much as I need to do to work out. You can't look as good as I do by eating healthy and working out.
That's the truth to that.
Pop chocolate bars and 25 push-ups. That's the key to life right there, folks.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks again. And we'll talk next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
And that'll do it for this week, folks. For the Redneck Country Podcast, I'm Bill, the Almost Guy Thom.
And I'm Todd. Thanks for listening. And folks, if you want to be part of the podcast or you want to give us some feedback or really contact us about anything, feel free to email us at podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Again, that's podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again next week.